Good afternoon. We are going to discuss the RTP for the September 26. As you know, first it is MCQ, then followed by descriptive. First we are going to discuss the MCQ questions. And I should say this MCQ questions are, not the usual MCQ which we see. It is good questions. I should say it is above average questions. Okay. So without delay, let's start. Okay. So if you can see, they have given a big case study. Okay. Case scenario question. It's a very big case study. See, it's almost two page plus there is a case study, then followed by 5 questions. As you know, whenever such big question comes, what is our approach? Guys, I hope all of you know. Whenever such big question comes, if possible, follow the reverse strategy. What is the reverse strategy? First, go to the questions. Okay. Then read the relevant passage of the para. So whatever approach we do for the exams, let's try it out. Okay. So are you all there with me? So the first question, okay, I'm following the approach which we are going to follow in the exam hall. The first one, which of the following best describes CA Arjun's conduct regarding the identified foreign exchange on non-compliance? So they are asking about CA Arjun. Okay, something regarding the conduct. You saw this conduct. Now with this, please go to the passage. Okay, here. So the first passage. Now you can read. CA Arjun is the statutory auditor of XYZ Limited, was engaged to conduct the audit of FS for the year. During the year, the company undertook complex cross-border restructuring involving overseas subsidiaries, extensive import-export transaction, compliance with applicable foreign exchange transaction. Before accepting and continuing the engagement, Arjun ensured the team possessed necessary professional competence, industry expertise, updated technical knowledge required. During the course of the audit, Arjun identified instances of delayed realization of export proceeds, related non-compliance of Forex. So they are dealing with Forex, so he identified some kind of non-compliance. Management represented that delays were temporary and expected to be resolved through ongoing negotiations with the customers. Management further requested that these matters, should not be specifically highlighted in the documentations or communication with the TCWG. Considering company's long-standing relationship with the firm and the possibility of losing the future assignment, Arjun intentionally avoided documenting and communicating these non-compliance and continued performing procedure. Now, this is the first question, relevant passage. Okay. Next is, okay. So can you say, did Arjun do correct? He came across some non-compliance. He thought because of the good relationship with the client, we need not document or we need not report, because he thought if he does, he will lose the future. Is it correct? See, first option is what? He has complied with all ethical requirement. That's the first option. He complied with ethical requirement. First. Only professional competence. See, he did not exercise due care. He did not, competence, technical, ethical, professional standards. He's not competent. His conduct results in professional behavior and ethical responsibilities. There is no ethical violation. Out of these four, which do you think it is the most appropriate? For the exam, use ruling out technique. See, there is a non-compliance. Okay. So he has not complied with ethical requirement. There is some violation. So it is not A, it is not D. Which is the most appropriate one? See, the second option says only professional competence is violated. Third option says professional behavior, ethical responsibilities. Which is most correct? Ma'am, he didn't report the non-compliance, so he did not exercise due care. See, the first passage says he and his team possess the knowledge. They know, they have the knowledge. So it's not the competence issue alone. Knowingly, he knows the things. He did not communicate. See, intentionally, he did not do. And I'll show you my material. See, we have 5 fundamental principles, right? Integrity, objectivity, confidentiality, professional competence, professional behavior. Here it is non-compliance of law. Because he did not report the non-compliance, he is bringing disrepute, discredit to the profession. Can you read this? Professional behavior means what? It requires a chartered accountant to comply with the relevant law and regulation, so that it can be avoid any discredit to the profession. Here it is laws and regulation. So the answer is correct. So the answer is C. Why? Because of laws and regulation plus team has been already competent. That is already seen in the first passage. Are we clear? So this particular question is with respect to chapter number 11 in that 5 fundamental principles in that professional behavior, where you have to check the compliance with the laws and regulation. If not, you are bringing discredit to the profession. If this is okay, can you say Q2? Okay. Now, next question. Based on the procedures performed for the trade receivables, which of the following represents the significant audit concern? See, they have asked you the most significant concern with respect to trade receivables, which is other words debtors. Now, can you go in search of trade receivables in this question? Where is trade receivables? Did you see? Ah. Now, can you read this passage? Okay. While auditing the trade receivables arising largely from overseas operations affected by restructuring, Arjun obtained an aging analysis which showed that 60% of receivables balance were outstanding for 180 days. And aging report, aging analysis, etc. you obtain from the management. We learn in chapter number 5, items in FS. After you obtain the aging analysis, what will you do? You calculate how much provision should be provided. Debtors less provision will be the final amount of debtors or trade receivables. Now there is a long outstanding debtors, trade receivables. Management explained that delays were in the industry-wide, assured auditor that they were fully recoverable. So they said it is fully recoverable, so no need to put much provision. Ongoing restructuring negotiation expected settlement. The auditor neither obtained confirmation nor examined the subsequent receipts. Why? Primarily they relied upon the representation, SA 580. And the past recovery while concluding that provision was adequate. So auditor believed on the words, he accepted the representation and he did not check much. He did not obtain external confirmation. He did not check the subsequent realization. Now, what is the What did they ask? Significant audit concern. Now, tell me, risk that receivables may not exist due to fictitious sales entry. I'll discuss the answer. So let me know what is your answer. Risk that receivables are understated due to incomplete recording. Incomplete meaning completeness. Risk that receivables are overstated due to inadequate provision. Risk that receivables are incorrectly classified between current and non-current. So guys, in the question, okay, what is the issue? Long outstanding debtors. Long outstanding debtors means what? It should be, more outstanding, more provision should be provided. We did not check. Okay, we did not check. So what is the main issue involved? Let's once more read. See, fictitious sales entry. There is no hint in the question that fictitious sales occurred. No. So it's not A. Incomplete recording. There is no hint in the question that there is an incomplete recording or there is a omission, not all transaction. Now, see, 180 days plus outstanding debtors. We blindly relied on the management representation. They said, what did they say? They are in the reconstruction phase. See, they are in the reconstruction phase. So, fully recoverable. Believing it fully recoverable without obtaining confirmation, without checking the subsequent realization, we blindly thought provision is adequate. Actually, more outstanding means more provision should be provided. We did not check, we blindly relied on the representation, etc. So, more provision should have been provided. If more provision, debtor should have been less. As of now, we did not check. So, debtors are overstated, understated. We should have checked the provision. If provision should be more, debtor should have been less. We did not check. So, debtors are indirectly overstated. So, the correct option is C. Why, ma'am, it's not D? See, this is presentation and disclosure issue. Where they said debtors are current and non-current. They are not saying about the current and non-current. More than 1 year, current, non-current, nothing is said about that. Here the issue is only provision. If provision is actually provided as per the requirements, debtors should have been less. We did not check, so debtors is more. So the answer is option C. Fine, let's proceed to Q3. Where is Q3? So this is chapter number 5, something related to items in FS. Okay. Yeah, this is Q2 passage. Now, in relation to the pending tax litigation, legal opinion obtained by the management, which of the following procedure will be most appropriate as per SA 501? See, they have asked the procedure which is appropriate as per 501. So without even looking at the passage, without even going through the case study, we can try to read the option. Why? They asked as per 501. Let's try to read. Ada, 501. What is 501? Specific considerations for selected item. Inventory, litigation and claims, segment reporting. In that, whenever there is a litigation, first inquiry, obtain written representation, read minutes book, review legal expenses. But if you think risk is high, you will meet and discuss with the external counsel. Before you discuss, you have to get management permission. This you know. So now say which is the option. Meet the external counsel directly without involving management. See, we can meet directly But this, without involving management, see, it is company case. You can meet, but before you do, you have to obtain a permission. Next, send direct enquiry letter to the legal counsel, meaning we will directly contact him without involving management. Next, meet the legal counsel only after obtaining representation. Representation is SA 580. Send letter of enquiry to the legal counsel with management permission. Can you say which is the most correct option here? Which is the most correct option? A, B, C, D. See, let's rule out first. You cannot meet directly without management's permission. So A is wrong. You cannot send directly unless you obtain management. Can I know whether C or D, which is most appropriate? See guys, written representation, which is SA 580. In that, SA 580, written representation. In that, we study written representation is obtained near to the audit report. Whereas this letter of inquiry, etc., is done during the audit. There is nothing connected with the representation. Representation you obtain towards the end of the audit near audit report. Here to communicate with the legal counsel, you don't need a representation. You just need their permission. See, SA 580 we learn. So the most appropriate answer is which one? Yeah. Answer is D. Letter of inquiry you can send with the permission of management. In fact, they will prepare and we will send directly, meaning with the permission of management. Did you understand why management representation letter is not the correct option? That is because as per SA 580, written representation is obtained near audit report date. Whereas this is your audit procedure. Okay, now we'll go to the question 4. This one, yeah. Which of the following is the most appropriate deficiency in the procedure of audit performed for purchases and imported raw material? See, if you want, you can go and read the question. Where is it? This is about the litigation, which is Q3. This is about the purchases and the question Q4. Now we'll read. Arjun observed that a substantial increase of 40% when compared to previous year, along with the concentration of procurement from limited overseas vendors following restructuring exercise. To understand these fluctuations, he performed analytical procedure including trend analysis. So he did analytical procedure. As per SA 520, analytical procedures are done to identify the inconsistencies. He also verified inward gate records, corresponding invoices. However, these testing were restricted to selected months during the year, excluded transaction recorded to the close of the end. So he did the analytical procedure. Okay, analytical procedure is done. Then he verified the inward entry with the purchase invoice. He did test of details. TOD is test of detail. But what did he omit? He did not excluded the transaction near the year end. You know what? Whenever you do audit practically in your articleship, practically 31st March year-end transaction risk high. In bank audit also we check that. We call it as red flag. So you have to be careful what are the transaction near the year end. If year-end transactions are wrong, cutoff will be wrong. What is cutoff? Current year segregated from the next year. No additional procedure were designed specifically to address the cutoff. So this is the case. So he did analytical, he did test of detail, but towards the year end, he did not do. Nothing else he did to check the cutoff. Now, can you say, here we were asked to identify the deficiencies, huh? Tell me, inadequate procedures around the year, resulting around the year end, resulting in cutoff. He did not do. So this is a deficiency. Read the other options. Excessive reliance on test of details instead of analytical procedure. Now, can you reply, is this option correct or incorrect? In our question, he did analytical procedure, da. Come on, see, he did analytical procedure, see, trend analysis, etc. He did. So the option 2 is wrong. He did analytical procedure. He failed to perform analytical procedure. Wrong. Can you say D A, which is a significant deficiency? So the answer is A. See, inadequate procedures round the year end. See, if year end 31st March, 31st March is the year end. If you don't check that cutoff, March transaction may fall in April, April transaction may fall in March. So the most significant deficiency is A. They asked you most. So answer is A. See, analytical he performed, right? So it's not analytical. Verifying legal existence is like he did not verify, but the most appropriate answer is A. Can we go to Q5? Okay. So this is chapter number, the fourth question was, this one was chapter number 4, essay 501. This was the most deficiencies. This is relating to the procedures. Okay. Now last question, fifth one. Considering the significant changes during the year, which of the following best evaluates Arjun's decisions regarding engagement terms? Whenever you hear about the engagement letter, which essay will come to your mind? Which essay? Essay 210, agreeing on the terms. Now, which passage should we read? Last passage. Further, during the year end, this one, company underwent several significant changes, including replacement of senior management personnel, transition from the previous financial reporting framework to Ind AS, introduction of new regulatory compliance affecting the financial reporting disclosures. Despite these developments materially affecting the scope reporting considerations, CA Arjun decided to continue the original terms without revising the changes in the letter. And you remember in essay 210, we learned in case of recurring audit, whenever there are changes, we should revise the terms to remind the management. There are a lot of cases which we learn in essay 210. Okay. These are the cases. See, changes in reporting requirement, changes in financial, changes in legal term, changes in size of the entity, changes in ownership, changes in senior management, changes, special terms, misunderstanding. Here in this question, okay, there are a lot of changes, financial reporting changes has occurred, regulatory, they did not revise. So which is the option? No revision. Revision was necessary due to significant changes. Revision of terms becomes necessary only if management requests. No revision was required since auditor has audited earlier year. See, recurring audit, usually you need not give. However, when there are changes, you need to remind the management. Here there are changes, so you need to remind. Changes, you need to remind. So which is the correct option? That's right. Answer is B. Nothing like that. Only when management asks, there's no option like that. So are we clear with the case scenario? So if you see, guys, see, first question was chapter 11, second question was chapter 5, next was chapter 4, again last was chapter 11. In between question 4 was a procedure related question. So it's a mixture of various chapters. If this is clear, if you give me a green signal, we'll go to individual MCQ. 3 MCQs are there. Can we proceed? So this is individual MCQs. Okay. Now case study is over. See, whenever big question comes, we can try to read from the last sentence. This is small only. So let's read. LR and Co Chartered Accountants are conducting the statutory audit of beta exports for the year. During the audit, team is verifying the borrowings of the company. It was observed that company has obtained a loan denominated in foreign currency. While checking the year-end transaction, auditor verifies the closing exchange rate and recalculates the loan amount to ensure that it is restated in the financial statement as per applicable AS. Based on the scenario, identify the assertion. You know, right? Chapter number 5, items in FS states about assertion, and even chapter number 4, along with SA 500 assertions are there. Now this is loan. Now let's revise for 1 minute. Loan is an item where items in account balance sheet. So what are the main assertion? Existence, rights or obligation, valuation and allocation, completeness, and even cutoff we have to see. Here, loans, foreign exchange, $1 or whatever it is equal to this much of rupees. You are recalculating for arithmetical accuracy amount. Amount means what? The answer is very good, valuation. Easy. Completeness means you're checking whether anything is omitted. Rights and obligation means you're checking whether it is pertaining to the company. Existence means whether it is existing as on balance sheet. Here it is amount. Amount means valuation. Are we clear? Okay, Q6. Now Q7. An auditor wants to ensure that he has complete knowledge of locations where a company's inventories are stored. Since all the storage locations are stated to be taken on rent, the auditor seeks a independent source of audit evidence to verify whether all inventory storage locations have been disclosed by the management. See, this question is something related to chapter 5, items in FS. This question is something related to independent source of evidence. See, based on source, evidence can be internal and evidence can be external. SA 500, chapter 4. Plus, he wants to ensure that all has been disclosed by management, meaning nothing is omitted, which is the most relevant procedure for two things. One, independent source, plus everything is disclosed. Can you reply? See, inspecting certificate of incorporation of the company, is it a relevant procedure to check the location where the inventory is kept? And they said it is taken on rent. So this is irrelevant procedure. They have taken on rent. First one. Now, verifying the rent agreements provided by the company. Is internal, external? Come on, da. Verifying the rent agreement provided by the company is something which they give. It can be fabricated. It is more, not independent source. It is more like internal. Rent agreement is prepared by them. It's from management. So that doesn't suit the independent source. Now, visiting the location. That's good. But can I know one thing? If you visit the location which is already in the rent agreement, you will only know what is already in FS, right? Will you know the omission by management? Let me know. Rent agreement is there. We are visiting already those rent agreement location. We will know whether it is in existence, but we won't know whether it is omitted. We want to know whether they have omitted, whether all are disclosed. Whereas, if you inspect GST registration, in GST registration, one GST registration is something from the GST portal, etc. One independent source. Second, in GST registration, they say principal business, etc. Location. So the most appropriate answer is A. One independent source, plus we will know whether there is any omission of the locations. Okay. Okay. Can we go to the last MCQ? While evaluating the reliability of audit evidence, the audit team identifies the following documents. See, again, they are talking about reliability of evidence. The reliability of evidence is 500. Rules on reliability. You remember? Evidence obtained from independent sources more reliable. If internal control is more effective, internal evidence is reliable. Obtained directly by auditors reliable. Obtained in documentary form directly by auditor. Okay. Delivery challenge prepared by the company. Okay. Shipping bills downloaded from customs portal. Bank statement downloaded from bank's portal, from bank's website. Supplier quotations received. Supplier means creditors. As discussions arises among the team regarding the classification of document as internal and external. Again, the question is repeat. Similar to question number 7. Based on source, it can be internal and external. Particularly considering some document generated externally, okay, the engagement partner emphasized the importance of source and reliability. Which of the following is most appropriate based on above? See, they wanted the external. Can you say which all are the external out of these 4? 1, 2, 3, 4, na? All are external. 1 and 2 external. Option C. Let's discuss. See, delivery challenge prepared by the company. Is it internal, external? See, company prepares, na? So this is internal. Shipping bills downloaded from customs portal. See, customs portal is something outside the company. So this is external. Okay. Where is the next one? Bank statement downloaded from bank's official portal. See, if it was BRS, bank reconciliation statement, then it would have been internal. Here they downloaded from the bank's website. So this is external. If it is BRS, then it would have been internal. BRS means bank reconciliation. Suppliers quotation received. Now let me know whether this is internal or external. See, source, from where it arises, source is external, right? Supplier is a person outside. Okay, so this is also external. So 2, 3, 4, right? Yeah, 2, 3, 4. So the answer is, which is external? Answer is D. 2, 3, 4. Can you reply whether you guys understood this? Yeah, this is again related to chapter number 4. Essay 500, Rules on Reliability of Audit Evidence. Are we clear? So, welcome back. Now we are going to start with the MTP 1. Okay, this is mock test paper 1 for our September 26 attempt. In that, we are going to discuss first the MCQs, right? So, as you are aware, 30 marks is MCQ 30 and 70 marks is the descriptive part. So, starting with the first MCQ, okay, in that they have given the case scenario. As we already say or always say, you know that case scenario is a big case scenario. You saw? So directly we will go to the questions, then we will read back, right? So let's go to the question first. Okay, first question, you can read. While reviewing the annual reports and they publish the information of the company, for the previous 5 years, in order to study the reporting trends, disclosure consistency, movement in the financial indicators, team is primarily performing which type of audit procedures? And for this question, even without reading the case study, I think you can say the answer. Okay. If you want to read the case study, here the first question para. Okay. So auditor team is reviewing the annual report, previous 5 years, they are reviewing the published reports. So which procedures? Are they doing observation? Observations means what? Looking at the process. Inspection means examination of records and documents. Inquiry means seeking information from knowledgeable person. External confirmation means what? What is external confirmation? From the third party, you are obtaining evidence. So, which procedure they are doing it over here? So, here the answer is, see, it is inspection. How did you detect inspection? They are verifying the annual report. Annual report is a record. Okay. Published information of the company. Published information is another record. So verifying of this annual report, published information is examining of the books and records. Hence the answer is B. B for inspection. Here you are not looking, here you are not inquiring the management or knowledgeable person, nor you are not asking third person. So answer is B. B, which is inspection. So this question is from which essay? Hello. Which essay? Which is essay 500. In 500, we learn wrapper, FAPper, risk assessment procedure, further audit procedure. To support that, there are 7 techniques of procedure: inquiry, inspection, observation, external confirmation, recalculation, reperformance, analytical. So, if Q1 is okay, can we go to Q2? Okay, next question. In relation to the foreign currency loan obtained by the company, auditors independently recalculated what? The year-end liability using the closing exchange rate applicable for the reporting date. The auditor was primarily seeking evidence regarding which assertion? See, he is checking about the arithmetical accuracy. Regarding recalculation, foreign currency, $1 is equal to this much. We are recalculating. So recalculating is to establish which assertion they are asking. Completeness. Completeness is to check whether anything is omitted. Whatever should have been presented are presented. That is completeness. Rights and obligation, whether it pertains to the company belonging to the entity. Valuation and allocation is the amount. Occurrence, whether it has taken place pertaining. Here, recalculation means you are checking the amount. Amount means which is the correct answer. Yeah. So recalculation means it is valuation and allocation. So this particular question is with respect to assertion. You have assertion with respect to account balance. You have assertion with respect to class of transaction, and you have assertion with respect to disclosures. Chapter number 5, items in FS, and also in SA 500, we say about assertions. So I hope that was clear. Recalculation is amount. Amount means valuation. So the answer is C. Q3. The audit team directly communicated with the selected overseas customers seeking the confirmation of balances, transaction details, related receivables arising from the credit sales. In the context of identified significant risk area, such procedure is best classified as. Okay, tell me. See, if you go to the case scenario, which is this particular case scenario, this is relating to Q1. Foreign exchange, exchange applied, this is relating to Q2. If you see this passage, Q3, substantial proportion of sales, high volume of sales to overseas customers, auditors consider there is a significant risk. Can you say significant risk, which is SA? Which essay says about significant risk? Risk of material misstatement, 315. Now, whenever there is a risk, you have to obtain evidence as a response, which is which essay? 330. In 330, they ask auditor to perform further audit procedure. In further audit procedure, you have test of controls, you have substantive audit procedures. In substantive audit procedure, you have test of details, you have substantive analytical procedures. Right? So risk is high in this case. So you have to obtain more evidence where you directly communicate with the customers. This is called as at which procedure you are directly communicating with the customers and you are obtaining evidence. It is external confirmation. Now, what procedure is this? Is it test of controls? Is it substantive procedure to obtain the audit evidence directly? Is it risk assessment procedures which is performed? Or is it analytical procedure which is done as a trend analysis of receivables? Which is the correct answer? See, it is not A. You're not testing the controls. Okay. See, you are responding. So it is not RAP, it is FAP, further audit procedures. Here, are you doing analytical or are you performing further audit procedures as a direct evidence? Yeah, direct evidence. So answer is B. That's right. You are performing substantive procedures to obtain direct audit evidence. You know, in essay 330, we learn as a response to the assessed risk, auditor shall perform further audit procedure. In that, you will obtain evidence even through external confirmation to reduce risk to an acceptable low level. So that's it. First question is from SA 500. Second is regarding assertion chapter 5. Third is regarding SA 330. So if question 1 is clear, can we go to next question? Case scenario 2. Can you say case scenario 2? Okay, Ada, again, it's a very big case scenario, right? Watch out. It's a very big case scenario. Can we use that reverse technique itself? Come on. We'll go directly to the question and read back the relevant passage whenever needed. Don't forget the passage. Okay. With reference to the discussion held between engagement partner and the management before acceptance of engagement, before acceptance, whenever you hear the word before acceptance, two essays will come to your mind. Anyone? Two essays says before acceptance. One is essay 210. 210 talks about preconditions which you have to see before acceptance. Plus, in essay 220, acceptance and continuation of the client relationship. You have to check the integrity, ethical requirements, significant matters. All those things you have to check. Those four matters you have to check before acceptance. So I was just revising. Okay, come back to the question. Which of the following statements made by the management would not constitute preconditions? Ada, can you say which essay? They are asking about preconditions, which is not a precondition. So, which essay is the relevant one? It is essay 210, right? 210 talks about preconditions. Hello, how many preconditions are there? Let's revise now. Preconditions 2 plus 3 plus 3. Ma'am, what are you doing? I'm saying preconditions. First, you agree with the management regarding applicable financial reporting framework, then you obtain agreement. In agreement, three things are there. What? They will provide you access, then they will provide you additional info, then unrestricted access to the, to the auditor. You remember all these conditions? Then in the agreement, they will say they will prepare FS, they will design control, and they will provide to the auditor. So just saying 2 plus 3 plus 3 conditions. Hello, do you remember these conditions? Now they wanted which is not a precondition. Out of this, which is not a precondition, that you have to say. Use the ruling out technique. Management represented that no fraud has occurred during the year. Therefore, extensive fraud related procedure is not necessary. Management assured auditor unrestricted access to books records. Management acknowledged responsibility of preparation of FS. Management agreed that FS would be prepared using AFRF. See, these three are precondition. What? Unrestricted access is a precondition. They will prepare FS as per AFRF as a precondition. Then they use the proper FRF as also a precondition. However, in this 2 plus 3 plus 3, the preconditions, in that no such preconditions called as this one, no fraud has occurred. They won't give like that. So the answer is, which one? Answer is yes, 4. Fourth one is A option. So they ask which is not a precondition. They ask which is not. Okay. Can we go to the next one? 5. So this is essay 210, chapter 11. Next one. During the audit of segment disclosures, the team compared segment allocations with the prior years, analyzed the unusual trends in segment profitability, verified elimination of inter-segment balances. In the context of audit assistance query regarding allocation, which of the following would not form part of auditor's duty regarding presentation and disclosure of segment info? So, which topic related? It is relating to essay 501. Audit evidence, specific consideration regarding selected item, 3 selected items: inventory, litigation and claim, segment reporting. In segment reporting, in essay 501, you are supposed to check the presentation and disclosure. Watch out, presentation and disclosure, auditor has to check regarding segment info. In that, we will there are certain points. You'll understand the methods performed by management. You'll perform analytical procedure. You will check what method they use, whether it is consistently applied. All those you will check. Plus, there is an accounting standard also. A17, right? You learn in your accounts. Okay. So they have asked which is not a procedure of auditor. Okay. So first, examining the consistency of segment disclosure with prior period. See, this is an analytical procedure where you check the current year segment with the prior period. Performing analytical on segment wise. Verifying the elimination of inter-segment revenues and balance. See, you learn in your consolidated financial, whenever there are intra-group transaction, A company, B company, segment wise, intra-group transaction, one company purchased, another company sold. Whenever you present that, you eliminate the intra-group transaction, ensuring that every item of revenue and asset liability in FS are compulsorily allocated without exception. Allocation have to check. Now, can you reply which will not form part of duty? See, rule out. This you have to check whether it is consistent with the prior period. Analytical also you have to check. C or D, which is the most inappropriate. This you have to check as per your FRF, accounting standard. Now, D is the wrong option. Wrong means which will not form. Why? See, they are giving every item. As an auditor, we give only reasonable assurance. For big companies, segment information is huge. So answer is not C, it is D. Ma'am, why C? As per your accounting standards, whenever there are intra-group transaction, one company purchased, another company sold, inter-segment transaction should be eliminated. Consolidated financials. See, as an auditor, we don't check each and every transaction. This you have to check as per your accounting standards. Okay. Okay, let's go to Q6. Where is Q6? Here. While verifying the this one, bank balances, the team physically inspected the original FD, fixed deposit receipts relating to the 50 lakhs in the balance sheet. In the context, the primary assertion being verified is the second question assertion. Which assertion they are checking? Is it occurrence? Whether it pertains to the entity? Is it cutoff? Cutoff means current year, segregated from the next year. Existent, whether it is actually there. Or accuracy. Accuracy is the amount. Which assertion they are saying? Yeah, answer is existence. See, you can identify the C option in two ways. One, fixed deposit is balance sheet caption. Balance sheet, you have the assertion. Account balance is balance sheet. Existence, rights and obligation, valuation and allocation, completeness. See, occurrence, accuracy is not a balance sheet caption. As per SA 500. Even cut off. So only caption which is belonging to the balance sheet is existence. Now, if you go logically, they are checking whether it is actually there, meaning it is existence. Anyway, the answer is C, which is existence. Wow, last question. Seventh one. Can we read? Okay. At the final review meeting, the audit assistant questions whether audit planning and overall review procedure constitute principles basis for forming opinion. Considering the procedure performed throughout, which of these statement is most appropriate? They are asking most appropriate. Most of the audit work performing opinion consists of establishing strategy and planning. See, we learned in essay 300. Strategy establishes the scope direction of audit. Planning is performed to conduct the audit in an effective manner. Most of the auditors' work in forming obtaining opinion consists of obtaining evidence and evaluating. In essay 500 and even in essay 200 we say most of the auditors' work in forming opinion is discussing and inquiring of management personnel. See, inquiring is one of the procedure as per essay 500. Okay. Most of the work in forming the opinion consists of review of the procedures performed immediately before issuance of report. Report issuance is essay 700, forming an opinion report, which is a correct option. See, most of the audit work, see, three phases: planning phase, performing, and completion. The major stage is performing. Okay, in performing 500 series, 500, 501, 505, 510, 520, 530, 550, 560, 570, 580. So 540 I didn't say deliberately because it's not there in syllabus as such. Okay. Now, in most of the auditors' work, come on guys, consists of what? Obtaining of. Array, come on, what? What do you do? In audit, we always obtain evidence and you have to evaluate now. So the most appropriate answer, see, it is not, do you mean to say most of the work is only hello, 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 asking management? No. See, planning is first process, then performing and completion is next to two phase. You will revise, of course. So the best option is B. Most of auditors' work comprises of obtaining evidence and evaluating the evidence obtained. You hear in essay 500, auditor shall obtain sufficient and appropriate evidence and he shall evaluate. Are you clear? So the answer is yeah, B. Did you notice something? We didn't even read that passage, guys. But always don't do that for the exam. Don't take risks. In case there is something which is relevant, like it may be a date, it may be some amount which is given, please read back the passage, just glance through. Hello. Where is it? Case study 3. Third case scenario. 1/2. Come on, guys. Life is a race. Run. Okay. Directly go to the question. Considering the facts given in the case. So we have to read the case regarding relationship between outstanding balance in CC and drawing power determined. How the auditor should evaluate status of account. Now, which chapter, when you heard about this, which chapter came to your mind, guys? Bank audit, right? Bank. Audit of bank. Chapter 10. So, where is it? Can you read? CC. So, there is a limit of 10 crore. So, what is 10 crore? 10 crore is the sanction limit. Okay, I'll write here. Sanctioned limit at 10 crore. SL is sanction limit. Then based on sanction limit, based on the stock and debtors, you will calculate. Bank will calculate based on stock and debtors, receivables, drawing power. The branch observed that branch computed drawing power of 8.2 crore. Stock statement was submitted. The outstanding balance as on 31st was, outstanding balance was 8.6 crore. Further, on examination, it was revealed that outstanding balance was continuously above drawing for more than 90 days. So, which concept they are testing? There is something called as oh. Aha. What is oh? Out of order. Can you revise out of order? How many cases it will be out of order, da? 3 cases. 1, if the outstanding balance exceed sanction limit or drawing power. Second case, no credits at all for 90 days as on 31st March. Then, credit is there, not even sufficient to meet the interest debited. Either and or are these 3 cases, or either of these 3 cases, it will be deemed as out of order. And without even seeing the answer, can you say performing out of order, outstanding balance? See? Yeah. It is out of order. Why it is out of order? Because, see, our outstanding amount exceeds the drawing power. It should not exceed sanction limit or drawing power. Both should be complied. Account is regular. Account should be treated as out of order since it exceeds the drawing power. Account is regular. Cannot be evaluated. So clearly the answer is B, right? Account is out of order. Bank Audit is an important chapter. Please don't skip that chapter. Mostly some MCQ might be there. Might. Now next one. Where are we? Ninth one. While evaluating the security position of CC, cash credit, on the reporting date, auditor noted that drawing power has been computed using the stock information that was not available on the reporting date, and the borrowing in the account were already close to the level determined on the basis of primary security. Considering these facts, which of the following conclusion will be appropriate? See, we learn in bank audit plus also in CARO. CARO clause 2 inventory. Okay, so cash credit drawing power is calculated based on what? Based on the stock statement and the debtor statement filed by the borrower. And at times bank will order stock audit. Stock audit when ordered if the fund amount exceeds 5 crore. If you read the case study, see, while reviewing the borrower's account, stock values appearing in the audited statement, stock reported, and the bank statement, there is a significant difference. So, there's a small difference in the statement submitted and the FS. Okay, so tell me which is the correct answer. The borrowing position may not be reliable since it is being evaluated on the basis of outdated information regarding primary security. Account should be treated as regular because sanction limit itself is not exceeded. Sanction is 10 crore, na? Drawing power computation can be accepted since borrower had submitted stock statement earlier. Auditor should rely only on the audited FS while calculating the security position. This is a very general question. Can you say which is the most appropriate answer? See, bank calculates the drawing power, guys. Okay, they don't blindly rely on the statement submitted by the borrowers. Bank calculates based on their own estimates. If they have doubt, they will recalculate, etc. Here, there is some issue. Hey, mind you, you are the auditor of bank. Don't lose that flow. Okay, you are the auditor of bank. So you cannot blindly rely on the audited statements. You cannot blindly rely. Then why a bank auditor? If sanction limit is okay, you cannot simply say everything is okay. You have to see drawing power also. So A or C are most appropriate. You cannot accept simply based on some stock statement filed. There is some issue, there is some difference in the statement given by the borrower, right? So, answer is A. But I think from the bank point of view, there is a difference. There's a unreliability case. If you read the case study, you will understand. I showed you, right? So you cannot simply rely and you cannot do. So answer is A. Okay. Next one. 10th question, please. During the audit, the auditor noted that the position of inventory considered while determining the drawing power was stated to be lying at the third party warehouse and also observed difference in the stock reported to the bank and appearing in the audited FS. See, think from this point. You are the auditor of a bank, borrower has the stock. This stock is lying with the third party. Hello, we have learned in essay 501 or also otherwise also in essay 500 and 505 you learn. Whenever it is with third party, without even seeing the answer, can you say, what will you do? If the stock is lying with a third party, you will obtain a dash. You will obtain a confirmation from the third party, right? That's the best option or best evidence source. So, considering the facts, which procedure is most appropriate to address the risk? Rely on the stock statement submitted, accept management representation. At a SA 580, management representation is not a substitute. It's only a corroborative evidence. Obtain confirmation from third party, restrict verification only to purchase. So once stock is lying with the third party, the best option is to obtain a confirmation from them. We learn in essay 501, we learn in 505 that independent evidence is most reliable evidence. Even 500 says based on source, internal and external. External is more reliable. So 10th one, the answer is C. Can we go to the next one? Yeah. The auditor accumulated the difference between the stock reported and the stock appeared in the audited FS and noted that aggregate of misstatement was approaching materiality level. Management, however, decided not to make any adjustments in FS. In the light of the facts, what the auditor should do primarily in evaluating the implications. Hello, any essay came to your mind while evaluating the implications? No, ma'am, no essay came to our mind. Come on, guys, which essay came to your mind? I won't proceed unless you say, hello, why you should have all the fun? There is a sentence, auditor shall consider the implications of aggregate of misstatements or individually the misstatements, whether it approaches the materiality. Evaluation, da, which essay? 450. 320 is materiality, that's also there, but I'm saying about evaluation. So 450. So there is a misstatement, right? In our books is different. The statement submitted is different. So there is a misstatement. Whenever there is a misstatement, you have to evaluate whether individually or in aggregate it approaches materiality. Essay 450. Now conclude that FS are misstated without evaluation. Evaluate uncorrected misstatement individually or in aggregate. Consider its implications. Accepts management explanation. Ignore. which is the correct option. See, you have to further evaluate, so it's not A. You cannot accept management explanation. You can ignore if it is clearly trivial. It's not trivial. Trivial means smaller magnitude. They did not say it's a trivial. So you have to say individually or in aggregate also you have to check. So the answer is B. This sentence only I said, evaluate whether uncorrected misstatement individually or in aggregate is material. If so, evaluates its implication. So that's something related to essay 450 evaluation. Now, last question, I guess, in the case study. During the discussion of the above matters with the branch manager of the bank, they suggested that auditors should avoid reporting the irregularity so that borrower's banking relationship is not affected. Considering the situation described, which ethical principles should be primarily guide auditors' response? Five fundamental principles: integrity, objectivity, confidentiality, professional behavior, professional competence. Integrity means false report. Objectivity means you're compromising conflict of interest. Confidentiality means disclosure of information. Behavior means you're not complying with law or bringing discredit to the profession. Professional competence means you're not exercising skill. The bank manager is saying, ma'am, sir, please don't report, okay? We'll have a good relationship. If you are complying with that, you will override. You are giving a false information and you are having a conflict of interest. So, which you are violating. So, which is the correct option? Not confidentiality. You're not disclosing any information to the public. It's not law. Here you are not lacking skill. Here you are giving a false information. Giving a false information is integrity. You are lacking your objectivity, meaning you are biased. So the answer is A. See, there is no question of lack of competence. You are giving a false report. False report means integrity. You are compromising on your objectivity, meaning you are giving false report by biased. So answer is A. So that's it, guys. Case scenario. We have 3 individual MCQs. Always it's like that. Yeah. Can we go to question number 13? No rush, guys. Come on, quickly. 3 more individual question. Can we proceed? Okay. Next. BCD Limited is engaged in manufacturing the electric components. During the audit of financials for the year 31st March, auditors assess the risk of material misstatement at assertion level for revenue and inventory. While designing the further procedures, auditor considers whether it is necessary to perform TOD, substantive, or combination of both. See, already we have learned, we recapped. In essay 315, you perform risk assessment procedure to assess risk. In 330, you perform further audit procedure as a response to risk. In that, you perform TOC and SAP. SAP means substantive audit procedure. In SAP, you perform test of details and substantive analytical procedure. You can do combination also. The auditor noted that reliable industry data are available. Relationship of sales volume and revenue are historically predictable. Analytical can be done. However, certain unusual fluctuations were also observed. Accordingly, auditor exercised professional judgment while designing the substantive procedures to reduce the risk to an acceptable low level. Which of the following statement correctly explains the decision regarding substantive procedures? Substantive analytical must always be used instead of test of details if data is available. See, in essay 330, they say you can perform test of details, you can perform analytical, but combination of both is most responsive. Here they are saying instead of TOD, you cannot avoid test of details. The auditor decides whether to use test of details, whether to use substantive or combination based on his APJ. APJ, auditor's professional judgment. Their effectiveness in reducing the risk to an acceptable level. Substantive analytical can be used only when control risk is low. See, substantive can be used whenever you have prediction. If you can predict, you can do. Here they are able to predict. Where is predict? Test of details are mandatory for all account balance irrespective of judgment. Here they are saying don't use judgment. So which is the correct option out of the lot? Answer is auditor will use test of details or substantive analytical or combination of both based on the judgment. Ma'am, why others are wrong? I will say irrespective of auditor's judgment. No, you have to use the judgment. This only when control risk. No, that's also wrong. Instead of TOD is also wrong. So the answer is B. B for bat. Hello, second last question on MCQ. Come on. CDE Limited is engaged in manufacturing and turnover of 500 crore. During the audit, the auditor determined materiality and planning stage based on percentage of profit. See, materiality, essay 320. They say in essay 320, materiality can be based on any benchmark, percentage of profit, percentage of turnover, anything. During the course of audit, certain misstatements were individually identified immaterial but collectively approaching materiality. You call it as performance materiality. Further, management refused to correct some of these misstatements. At the completion stage, CR evaluated the materiality considering the revised financial results, assess the impact of uncorrected misstatements before forming the audit opinion. Which of the following is as per 320? How cute. They said 320 in essay itself. Materiality is only in planning stage, cannot be revised. In the event of becoming aware of a fact that would have caused the auditor to fix different materiality, initially auditor shall revise. Ma'am, what are you doing? What are you saying? Revision of materiality. Materiality can be revised. Only individual materiality need to be considered. Individual and aggregate. Performance materiality has to be considered. Materiality is there in planning, performing, and evaluating the uncorrected misstatement. Once management refuses to correct, auditor must automatically issue qualified opinion as per 705. So you will see materiality, then only you will give. So the answer is C. It's there in planning, performing, and evaluation. So that's essay 320, chapter 3. Okay. Wow, last question. A Limited engaged in manufacturing operations and significant work in progress WIP inventory at the year end. During the audit, the auditor evaluates the measurement of stages of production, basis of estimates, inclusion of cost elements, allocation of overheads, treatment of abnormal wastage. All these they have given. Which of the following observation indicates inappropriate valuation of work in progress? Array guys, which one? Valuation question they have asked about valuation. Question enda choicha valuation. Valuation is your AS2. While you are valuing the inventory, certain amounts should be included in the cost of inventory, certain should not be included. That you know better than me, so directly say the answer. Various stages of production, value additions are measured, estimates made, the basis of estimates understood. Overhead included based on method consistent with costing financial data. Auditor has ascertained what cost to be included in WIP. Material cost will include abnormal wastage. See, they want inappropriate, meaning incorrect they want. Which is incorrect, guys? We learned in AS2 regarding the abnormal that won't be included in the material cost. So answer is B. Why abnormal? So that's purely based on your accounts, Uda. Accounts. Always you can expect one question from your accounts. Where do you study this? Items in FS chapter? Chapter 5. Always you can expect one question from accounts or law. Okay. So that's it. MCQ. Yes. So welcome, guys. This is our MTP2 for the September 26 examination. We have already conducted RTP MTP, and if any one of you wanted the playlist of the MTP, RTP, or the marathon, you can view my channel or WhatsApp channel, or you can directly message me also. Okay, so without delay, let's go to the MTP2, the MCQ part, right? Okay. So as usual, the first part is the 30 marks MCQ, which is the case scenario based initially. So this is full the case scenario. Let's directly go to the questions. Then we will read back. Okay. First question. Based on the facts given in the case, which of the following best distinguishes the engagement partner's decisions from managing audit manager's subsequent actions? So let's just go through the case scenario. If you see, they are talking about engagement partner, audit team, etc. So just we'll run through the case study. XYZ and Co chartered accountants have been appointed as the auditors of ESK Engineering Limited, listed entity engaged in manufacturing heavy industrial equipment. During the year, company acquired a foreign subsidiary, implemented new cloud ERP across the manufacturing unit, entered into long-term contracts involving multiple performance obligations. So they are saying about the company. At the planning stage of audit, planning, which is nothing but your SA 300. Okay. At the planning stage of audit, the engagement partner held discussion with the audit team and concluded that audit would require significant attention in areas of revenue recognition, consolidation, valuation of inventory, IT general control. Accordingly, he decided to deploy IT specialists assigned experienced personnel to revenue recognition, consolidation, performed interim testing before year-end commencement of the work. So that's the planning stage. So he considered it is essential that some areas need attention. So he assigned adequate personnel. Based on these discussion, audit manager prepared a detailed program specifying the nature, timing, and extent of procedure for each significant account balance, allocation of work among the team members, audit procedures to be performed in response to the risk. So as you know, in SA 300, the initial phase is audit strategy, which determines the scope, direction, timing. Then based on that, you prepare the plan to conduct the audit in an effective manner. Based on that, you prepare the program. So the engagement partner is basically saying about the strategy, how it is to be done. And based on that, he's determining the program. Okay, anyway, we have read till here. So let's go to the case scenario. The engagement partners decisions constitute plan because they determine the procedures performed, whereas managers' detailed program represents the strategy. See, here manager is doing nature timing and extent of procedures, so that is not strategy. So here they say manager is doing strategy, so option A is wrong. Now next, the engagement partner established the overall strategy in determining the scope, timing, direction of audit, whereas manager translated the strategy into plan by specifying nature, timing, and extent of audit procedure. This option seems to be correct, but please read the next two. Both engagement partner's decision and audit manager's program together constitute plan, as the strategy is prepared only after completion of risk assessment procedure. No. Actually, strategy should be initially prepared. Based on strategy, only plan will be prepared. So this also seems to be wrong. Audit manager's detailed program supersedes the overall strategy. No. It doesn't supersede. It doesn't replace. So the answer is B. So if you see, engagement partner establishes strategy, which is scope, timing, direction of audit, whereas manager is translating this into a plan, which is scope, timing, direction, which converts into the program. So answer is B. Okay, the next question. Considering the information obtained while understanding the entity and its environment, which of the following most appropriately explains why partner instructed the team to evaluate the information before designing the further audit procedures? See, we read till here now. If you see further, while obtaining understanding of entity and its environment, team noted that revenue from maintenance contracts was recognized. Understanding of entity and its environment, which is Essay 315, identifying and assessing risk. Through ERP-based inputs provided by the project managers, the team observed that manual entries were relating to contract modifications were required approval from the chief financial officer. Internal audit report highlighted deficiencies in the manual overrides ERP. Newly acquired subsidiary has not been fully integrated in the process with parent company's ERP. So there was issue. During the discussion with the team, CFO stated that manual approval were operating effectively and adequate provision has been made for obsolete. However, internal audit had informed that several contract modification has been approved after considerable delay. So internal audit says there's a huge delay. Further, warehouse manager stated that obsolete inventory identified during physical was still awaiting disposal because board approval has not been obtained. Inventory aging report also reflected significant increase in slow moving. So initially they assess risk. Now, once you start the audit, you find a lot of details. So risk assessment, you learn the sentence, right? Risk assessment is a continuous and dynamic process which has to be evaluated. Based on that only, you perform what procedure? Further audit procedures. Okay, which is further audit procedure FAP. So to evaluate information, then perform further audit procedure. So they ask you why the engagement partner instructed the team to evaluate the information before designing. To determine whether ERP eliminates the need for substantive testing. You cannot eliminate substantive testing. There is a sentence, SAP has to be performed irrespective of risk, but extent of SAP will increase or decrease based on risk. To determine whether management representation is sufficient evidence. You know what? As per Essay 580, management representation is not a sufficient and appropriate evidence. To decide whether reliance can be placed exclusively on the work performed by internal audit function. As per essay 610, you cannot rely on internal audit function exclusively. It's only a partial substitution. So the answer should be D, but still, to identify the risk, by considering whether there is any contradictory information, evaluating the risk curve at the assertion and assessing likelihood, possibility of misstatement. So that is essay 315. So based on the risk, you have to again evaluate, then only you have to design the further audit procedures. So the answer is D. Okay, the next one. In the circumstances described in the facts, which of the following best justifies engagement partners' direction that oral representations or oral explanation should not be accepted without corroborative evidence? See, if you see the last para, the engagement partner instructed the team to evaluate all information obtained from different sources before designing the further procedure. He emphasized that inquiry alone not ordinarily provides sufficient and appropriate evidence. Accordingly, management's oral explanation should be corroborated with other evidence, whether appropriate, confirmed through written representation. See, based on nature, audit evidence is oral, visual, documentary. Oral evidence is least reliable. So here, best justifies regarding the management's oral representation. Since CFO is responsible for preparation of FS, the auditor may ordinarily rely on oral representation unless there is evidence of fraud. No, you cannot rely on oral representation alone. You have to corroborate with written representation and other evidence. Since contradictory information was obtained from internal audit department warehouse, the auditor should disregard management explanation altogether. See, you cannot disregard altogether. You have to corroborate more evidence. You need not disregard altogether. This word altogether, wrong. So what auditor will do? Although inquiry may provide important evidence, it does not provide you sufficient and appropriate. Therefore, auditor should evaluate inconsistent response, obtain sufficient corroborative evidence where appropriate, obtain written representation from management before drawing conclusion. That seems to be the correct. Written representation obtained are conclusive. Never. As per essay 580, written representation are not substitute nor conclusive. So the answer is C. So this particular case study deals with essay 300, then goes to essay 315, then goes to essay, 580, like that. So that's case study 1. Come on. Let's go to case study 2. PQR and Associate Chartered Accountants appointed as the Star Electronic Limited. Now that's a big case study. As usual, what we will do is, we will go to the question and come back. Now we'll read. The auditor performed analytical procedure, identified significant increase in the trade receivables that was inconsistent with comparatively modest growth in credit sales. What should be auditor's responses? So without even reading the case study, we can say analytical procedures, which is essay 520. It states, whenever there is an inconsistency, auditor shall investigate, where auditor will inquire the management and obtain their response. Further, he has to perform audit procedures as appropriate. So that is essay 520 for you. So inquire the management regarding the unusual fluctuation, evaluate the explanation with other evidence, perform further procedure. Perform further procedure, inquire. Seems to be the correct option. But still, let's read. Accepts management explanation since increase is expected to reverse after year end and no further procedure. Then why audit done? You have to perform further procedure. Conclude that FS are materially misstated because analytical identified unexpected relationship. Yeah, analytical identified unexpected relationship, that's right, but you cannot conclude merely by that. You have to perform inquiry and further procedure. Restrict further procedure to obtain written representation from management. Again, same. Written representation cannot alone be sufficient. So answer is A. So something related to essay 520, analytical procedures. Next, please. Based on the facts of the case, which of the following observation most strongly indicates that auditors should perform additional procedure regarding valuation and recoverability of trade receivables? So just we'll go through the case study. During the planning stage, team identified trade receivables as a significant audit area due to rapid expansion, the company's dealer network. Accordingly, auditor performed analytical procedure by comparing the current year turnover with aging analysis, profit, etc. Analytical procedure revealed that credit sales increased by 12%, but trade receivables had increased by 48. See, there should be some proportional increase. If sales increase by 12%, so that trade receivables, sales increase by 12%, so receivables should also increase by same proportion, right? The proportion of receivables outstanding is more than 180 days and increase significantly compared. On question, the finance director explained that increase was temporary. However, the engagement team observed that long outstanding balance related to customers' credit limit repeatedly extended. Issue. The auditor therefore decided to obtain additional evidence by examining subsequent collection, reviewing correspondence, and adequacy of provision. So he identified some kind of risk through analytical procedure. While evaluating the controls over receivables, auditor noted that new dealers were approved through credit control department before sales were made. Sales invoices were generated automatically through ERP. Collections were handled by separate department. However, auditor observed that follow-up of overdue were inconsistent and there were several long pending cases. So full issue, guys. Okay. Now, based on this, which of the following observation by the auditor says more strongly indicates more procedure, meaning which is the most issue they are asking? New dealers were approved by control credit department before sales were made, indicating credit sales were operating appropriately. Here credit control were appropriate. So what need? Possibility of errors in recording sales transaction. Yes, seems to be correct. Significant overdue balance, repeated credit extensions, inconsistent follow-up, absence of legal actions indicate highlighted recovery of concerns. See, this is more vulnerable, more issue. See, B or C are more issue, C seems to be more appropriate. Customer collection were handled by department, independence of sale, providing degree of segregation. This is good actually. Then you know, once it is okay, risk is less. So procedure is less. Here they are asking why to perform additional. This is good. So most appropriate is C. Come on. Which of the following would be most relevant in determining nature, timing, and extent of audit documentation as per essay 230? Wow. How cute. They themselves said essay 230. They're asking about form, content, and extent of documentation. Content of documentation depends on professional judgment, number of team members involved, volume of accounting records maintained, extent to which management relies on working papers. The auditor's documentation form content depends always on auditor's professional judgment. It does not depend upon number of team members. More team members, more working papers. No, it depends upon size and complexity, but not on the team members. Volume of accounting records, the number of transaction. More proper is auditor's professional judgment. The extent to which management relies. No. So answer is A. Okay. So that's essay 230. Now, next one. Which of the following is most appropriate regarding Rajat Industries? Now we have to go in search of Rajat Industries. After the financial statements for the year ended 31st March has been prepared, but before auditor signs the report, one of the largest customers called Rajat Industries, owing approximately 18 crores, declared insolvent. The customer was facing severe financial difficulties even before year end, and a substantial proportion has been outstanding for more than 18 months. So when you read itself, you feel it's a subsequent events as per essay 560. Right. So what they want? The insolvency provides evidence of condition which is existing as on the reporting date. So if you see the case of Rajat, he is already existing as on balance sheet date, 18 months. It's already existing. So it should be adjusted. AS4 says it's an adjusting events. It is existing only. So auditor should evaluate whether provision is required. Seems to be correct. The insolvency provides evidence of condition that arose after reporting date. No. It was already existing. It is a non-adjusting event because it occurred. No. It was already existing. Insolvency occurred after report signed, therefore automatically should modify if. No. It's already existing event, so answer is A. This is relating to essay 560 subsequent events. Even your AS4 also deals with this, events occurring after balance sheet date. Right? Next case study. Come on, life is a race. Run. Now you see banker. Let's read directly to the question, then read back. With reference to the cash credit facility sanctioned to the Sunrise Limited, which of the following constitute primary security? Securities are of two natures. It can be either primary security or it can be collateral security. Primary security is the main security, principal security over which loan is given. Collateral is additional. Can you go in search of Sunrise Industries? Here. During the branch bank audit, the audit team examined the credit facility of 40 crores sanctioned to Sunrise Industries Limited against hypothecation of raw material, finished good, trade receivables. As an additional comfort, bank also obtained equitable mortgage over factory land and building with personal guarantee. So Ada, here primary security is the material finished goods. This is the primary security. Whereas equitable mortgage of land and building, personal guarantee is the collateral, which is the additional security. So they asked you which is the primary security. Of course, the answer is raw material, finished good, trade receivables. This one, which is hypothecated to the bank. Main security is the primary security. Next one. Considering the patterns of transaction in Sunrise Industries account, which of the following is the most appropriate? So whenever you see the option, there can be one or two answers which might be correct. So choose the most appropriate out of this, right? Okay. So here the answers here. Okay. Let's go to next. Again, Sunrise Industries. Continue. On reviewing the loan account, team observed that account has been remained irregular for almost 3 months. And this is cash credit facility. It will become out of order. However, 3 days before balance sheet date, the borrower deposited 8 crore, making the account appear regular. On verification of the transactions, immediately before the year end, auditors noticed almost the entire account has been withdrawn from fresh drawings transferred from another group company. Similar year end transaction has occurred in the previous year and also. There is a point. The account regularized near balance sheet date should be handled with care. Regularized near balance sheet date should be handled with the care. If you find there is a risk, it should be treated as NPA. Here, see, there is fictitious transactions. Some suspicious. It's like a window dressing. The account should be treated as standard because they deposited. Auditors should examine the transaction immediately before and after the balance sheet to examine the regularization was merely an arrangement to prevent slipping into NPA. Seems to be correct. Auditor should disregard the subsequent withdrawal and transfer because such relate to next year. You should not disregard whenever there is a regularization near balance sheet date. See, it was 3 months irregular and just 3 days before, right? So like March 28th or 29th, they are doing. Accounts need not be examined further for NPA. You have to examine. So the answer is B. Done. Next, which of the following should the auditors verify while auditing Shiksha Jyoti Educational Society? Where is Shiksha Jyoti? Here. During the audit of Shiksha Jyoti Education Society, auditors observed that income tax has been deducted at source, interest earned on government deposit, fixed deposit. Although society was eligible for exemption under income tax, no refund has been filed. The auditors also noticed that separate statement of account and not prepared for hostel fund, game fund. All these transactions merged in general accounts. So there were some issues. Okay, so here two things. What all auditor should verify they have asked. So what's the answer? The auditor should whether the society is eligible for income tax exemption. Accordingly, no verification is required for TDS. See, in chapter number 9, different entities, they say in case of charitable trust societies, TDS deducted. If it is exempt, it should be claimed as refund. That should be checked. You have to check. So answer is wrong. Whether separate statements have been prepared only for hostel fund, staff fund. Only? No. Whether tax deducted at source has been refunded and whether same is correctly credited to general fund. So, whether income tax refund deducted from investment income has been claimed, recovered, whether separate funds has been prepared for hostel. See, there were two issues now. One, TDS. Next, funding. Both should be checked. So the best appropriate answer is D. Both has to be checked. Next. With reference to the conduct of executive director towards auditor, which of the following ethical threats are involved? You know, there are 5 threats: self-interest threat, self-review threat, advocacy, familiarity, intimidation threat. Where is the director? Here. When audit team insist on extending procedure, the executive director stated that if auditor continuing questioning the asset classification insisted on additional audit work, bank should recommend another audit firm in the next year. Substantially reduce future professional fees considering initiating legal proceedings for delaying audit report. They are threatening, they are deterring you. ED. So which threat? That's right. Intimidation. Self-interest is when financials da. Advocacy is when you promote. Familiarity is when close relationship. So here, intimidation when they are deterring. Here. So that's D. 12th. After evaluating the matters arising during both audits, the engagement partner instructed the team to obtain sufficient and appropriate evidence before expressing an opinion. Which of the following describes further audit procedure to be performed? Further audit procedure is basically SA 330 and it's also there in 500. Auditor should perform substantive analytical procedure alone to obtain evidence. See, substantial analytical procedure alone may not be sufficient. It has to be combined with the test of details. Auditor should perform test of controls alone. They say test of controls alone may not provide you with sufficient and appropriate evidence. Auditor should perform test of controls where required or when reliance on control is intended together with substantive procedure, TOD and analytical. So further audit procedure is equal to test of control and SAP. SAP is equal to test of details and substantive analytical procedure. So the best option seems to be D, not D, CCC. So first you will perform test of control, then you will perform SAP. SAP you will do test of details and you will do substantive analytical procedures. Auditor should perform inquiry of management and obtain written representation from management. Written representation alone or inquiry alone may not be sufficient. So the best answer is C. Right? Okay. So I think that concludes our case study. Now 3 individual questions. An audit firm is engaged to do the audit of a company for the financial year 25-26. The financial statements were prepared by management, reflect a profit before tax 1 crore. The audit program is nearing completion, so still audit is going on. Y instructs the staff to prepare the draft audit report with proposed date 4th July. Meanwhile, certain audit evidence and events comes to the notice. A response to pending external confirmation is received on 5th July. So external confirmation is received only on 5th. On 3rd July, local vernacular newspaper Y becomes aware that company is a major customer owing 50 lakh fled the country. So that's another event. Written representation are received only on 10th July. So this is 5th July, this is 3rd July, this is 10th July, and audit is only nearing completion. We have not finished the audit yet. Watch this. You saw nearing completion. The engagement partner needs to determine sufficient and appropriate date to sign the report. Do you remember essay 580? What? Written representation. They say written representation should be near to the audit report date. Okay, here written representation you got on 10th July. So only after written representation, it's better to give the audit report. So audit report should be given after representation, or in other words, written representation should be near the audit report but not after that. So audit report should be only after written representation. So if you're giving on 3rd July, 5th July, 4th July, your representation is after that. So your audit report should be dated only on 10th of July. Why? Because of written representation. So always it is better to date your audit report on or after the date of written representation. Here your written representation is only on 10th of July. So the answer is, yeah, correct. The answer is A. Yeah, A is the answer. Okay, second last question, guys. Only two more questions. Let's proceed. While auditing the valuation of finished goods, auditor examines the basis used by management for determining cost. The accountant provides costing sheet prepared for sample carpets were originally developed by obtaining customer orders. These costing details include hire, design, development, trial overheads, and the same has been used for valuation. Finished goods. Auditor evaluates whether such costing is appropriate for inventory valuation as per the applicable principles. See, this is something which is relating to valuation of inventory. You learn, right, in your accounts, cost should include those that brings the inventory to the present condition and location. Here they are including costs such as higher design, development, trial overheads. Every cost is included, more than what it should be. So as a result, inventory is overvalued or undervalued. Inventory is overvalued. So inventory should include only those costs which is bringing the inventory to the present condition and location. Okay. So as a result, it is overvalued. Yeah. Yeah. So yes. So see, costing provided by accountant is likely to be accepted by auditor. No, we have to check. Accountant is understated. No, it's not. It's not understated. Why? It is more included. So it is tend to be overstated. It's not appropriate. As I told you the reason. Now going to the last question. Over. MTP2 MCQs over. The practitioner is engaged to perform two different types of assurance engagement. One high level of assurance, another moderate level. While planning the work, practitioner evaluates nature, timing, and extent of procedure, as well as the evidence required to form the conclusion to be expressed. The audit team discusses the difference between reasonable assurance and limited assurance engagement. Which of the following is not true regarding distinction between reasonable and limited? So this is regarding chapter number 1, which is nature, objective, and scope of audit. Okay. So they wanted which is not true. A reasonable assurance involved more extensive and detailed procedure. Correct? So they wanted which is not true. Reasonable assurance engagement involves obtaining sufficient and appropriate where limited only involve limited evidence. See guys, both assurance you have to obtain sufficient and appropriate evidence. This seems to be false. So this seems to be the correct answer, but wait. Reasonable assurance engagement provides higher level than limited. That's correct. They wanted which is not true. They wanted which is not true. Reasonable assurance engagement involved drawing conclusion reasonable, whereas limited assurance involved limited conclusions. Yes, this is also true. So answer is B. So with that, we are coming to the end of MTP2 MCQ discussion. We have done RTP, MTP and all. So keep going, buddies. All the best.